Welcome to the Journey to Happy podcast, where you get concrete tools for mindset work, my best tips for lowering your anxiety. And you also hear funny and encouraging stories from me and others who have stories to share. Around here, you'll discover the easy way to stop overthinking, to get rid of self doubt, and finally embrace a calmer, more confident you. I am Olga, your host, a former therapist, a life coach, wife, blissfully an IVF mother, and a coffee lover. I'm excited that you tune in today, and I'm honored to be on the journey with you. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Journey to Happy podcast. Today, I am going to be answering a question that I got from somebody who took my anxiety relief online course, which, by the way, any of you can take. And she had a question that I thought it was so powerful. It didn't just deserve an email back, but actually to record a podcast about it, because I've experienced that fear myself. In fact, I would say I'm experiencing it now. And I know many of you listening to this podcast come from an infertility background. You have experienced multiple losses. And even if you're not from that audience, even if you're not here because of fertility struggles, like this client isn't, the client who asked me a question, I think that many of us are constantly afraid of losing the things, the people, the experiences that we once loved or that we still do love. So I plan on dive in, but first I'm going to read you what she said about the anxiety course. Hi, Olga. Hope all is well. I truly enjoyed your anxiety course. It really helps me to work and find the root of my anxiety. The mental traps module was mind-blowing for me. I have so much of them, but was not aware that this could be the causes of my anxiety. Now I can notice when one appears and redirect my thought with a more positive, realistic mindset. Amazing. I'm also seeing a psychologist through my work, and I am happy that I am taking the time to take care of myself, to be able to be healthier for my family and in life in general. So big thank you. And so she says, if I want, I can share these. Now, that was her comment about the anxiety course. The anxiety course is about 6 weeks. I anticipate it takes about 6 weeks for people to finish it. It's $97 US, and you get to keep it for life. I recorded that. It's a pre-recorded course, so you don't have me live, but I pre-recorded that course because anxiety is just so prevalent among so many of us, and not many of us have the courage this client had to reach out to a psychologist to get help with it. And sometimes we just want to do it on our own. So why not have an expert help you? And that's what this course is all about. I broke down some of the basics that I think will help anyone overcome anxiety. If not fully, at least have a better understanding. And that pair up with therapy or coaching, I think could be really, really helpful. Now, she goes on to write me an email telling me how she loves dogs. Anybody here who's a dog lover will probably relate very much to her experience. And she's bought in the last few years 3 dogs, and she's lost them all, either to illness or she's had to give them up because they were biting her children. Something has happened. And each time she loses one of these dogs, it's a heartbreak. She grieves the loss. And although she would love to get another one, the last one they had to put down because he had a twisted stomach and he was a puppy. She would love to get one. She's got tremendous anxiety about losing the next dog. Raise your hand if you've ever been in a scenario where your heart has been broken and you kind of would like to do the thing again, but what you definitely don't want is your heart to break again, for you to be sad and in grief. My hand is up. I understand that fear at such a deep level, and I wanted to normalize that. This is a normal feeling to have when you've had recurring losses. I almost feel that before we have a loss in our life, before we break up with somebody we love, before we lose somebody, a relative, a friend, before we lose our job, something where there is a loss. Before that happens, it's like we are virgins to the feeling of loss and grief. And in that virginity of not having lost something that matters to you, there is such a beautiful, innocent existence. But I feel that once we've had a loss, it's like our mind becomes aware that bad things happen. Oh my God, painful things can happen. Life isn't forever. I know for me, I lost a very close friend of mine. It's gonna be 4 years ago. It's been 4 years. And it was a sudden death. And it was heartbreaking, heartbreaking. And we've been friends since we were very little. And we went to primary school, elementary school, and high school together. And when I heard about her passing, I was talking to our other good friends. So we were a group of 8 good friends. Now we're 7, but I was talking to one of those friends, and I was telling her, I cannot comprehend it. People don't die. I sincerely said those words. People don't die. I really meant young people don't die. I don't know what I was saying. Like, I couldn't believe she was gone. And my friend just repeated after me, yeah, Olga, people don't die. And I realized how little sense what I was saying made. But my point here is that before we have a great loss of any like, and I don't mean like your loss could be a job, could be your country, that you moved to a different country, could be a parent, somebody, a boyfriend, a husband, a wife. That loss, before that loss, you live in this blissfully innocent world where your heart just doesn't know that, your mind doesn't know that pain that can come with loss. Now, for those of us who have experienced loss, we keep going. Life continues. We heal, we grow, we find new ways of connecting. We understand the life experience that we went through. I'm sure if you have great tools for your mindset, you get to see the benefits of having had that experience. And that is what I want to focus on this episode. What do you do? How do you lose the fear? How do you say, okay, I'm going to find another job, and I'm going to be courageous enough to not think they're going to let me go. I'm going to fall in love again, and I'm going to be courageous enough to think that they're not going to be, I don't know, whatever the other partner was. I confess, for years I had the fear of losing my partner. I'm like, what if my husband dies? That sucks. To the point, like even before I met my husband, to the point that I even thought it's best to not get married. It's best to not love somebody. And just recently, as of like a few months back, my son was not feeling well, and I became really concerned. And I brought him to the hospital. And while we were waiting to be seen by the doctor, I sincerely had this thought, why? My God, why do I have to love this baby so much? So long as I love this baby so much, my heart is so fragile to be hurt at any given point. And there was that regret. I think that some of us who have experienced loss in different ways, we kind of wish we could prevent any future loss. That if we could just, and so we would think crazy thoughts like, oh my God, if I only loved you a little bit less, I wouldn't be so exposed to love. And so how do you overcome that fear? I, of course, always share with you my personal thoughts. And I do call myself a mindset coach for a reason. I feel that I've got the tools to internally turn things around so that I don't let fear stop me from living life and experiencing wonderful, beautiful things. So how do you stop that fear? My answer is you don't. That fear will be a part of you. It is like a pet that comes with you wherever you go. Once your brain and your heart have experienced the dark side, the grief, the loss, the possibilities of bad things happening, you're now aware. It's just that before you were not aware. Now, that awareness doesn't mean that you're more likely to experience a loss or a heartache. No, that only means that you're now aware before you weren't. Before you were not aware that there was a park in the corner. Now that you've driven past that corner, you realize there was a park. That doesn't mean that you're more likely to go to the park, but that you are aware there is a park at the corner. Okay. Same thing with losing that fear of losing. How do you move that anxiety, that fear of losing? So my approach has always been to balance things out. So when I think of falling in love, for example, if my marriage was to end today, I would think it sucks. I would be so sad that it ended. And I will miss my husband so much. But I would quickly turn my mind to appreciating the time that I did have with him, because it was good and it was happy and it was healthy and we had so many fun memories together. And if I was to fall in love again, I would be thinking, okay, even though my heart broke when my marriage ended, were the happy moments worthy of that heartache? And the answer for me is always yes, they were. Those, like, having felt in love, and maybe for some of you whose marriage maybe wasn't all that happy, and you're thinking like, God, no, I was hell throughout, hell at the end. Why would I want to do this again? Well, there must have been a point in time when you agreed to be with this person where it wasn't hell. We had happy, good feelings. And even then, to recognize the lessons learned, right? So if it wasn't all pretty, if it wasn't all healthy, when you do decide that, being in the company of somebody is worthy of potentially risking being in emotional pain, you're giving yourself an opportunity to experience a life experience that you wouldn't have otherwise. Love is risky. I've said this before and I'll say it forever. Love is a risk. To love something, a job, a person, a house, a mug for your coffee, you're risking being in pain when that one person, thing, item is gone. Love is a risk that we constantly presented with, and we still do it. Becoming parents is such a big risk, right? Like you wear your heart on your sleeve at all times. Falling in love, and yet we do it. We do it because we buckle up and we say, I can do this with fear. And two, the experiences will be so worth it. So worth it. So, and trust me, I've had a broken heart for a variety of reasons, several times in my life. And each time I come back to that conclusion. Was my friendship with my friend worth it? Absolutely. Like 100%. Just as worth it as my heart was broken when she passed. Still hurts. Still hurts to have lost that friend. But it also still makes me smile, all the awesome memories we had, the moments we shared. I would do it all over again. All over again. Because the time we had was worth it. And by the way, I think the same about the babies I lost, the pregnancies I've lost. And even if they're short-lived, I always go back to how happy I was for those moments, those weeks, those days where I knew we had created life. Those moments of happiness, I won't get them back. That little being gave me those moments. Would I want to have that feeling again? Yes. But for all the women listening to this, why will we give birth more than once? Do we not have the fear of being in pain? We do, but we do it again because we know it's worth it. It's going to come up with a bundle of love that we absolutely want to, that we think is worth going through that pain. So do not be afraid of loving. Be afraid of fear, because fear is stealing life moments from you. We could all choose that being sad and in grief and losing something, someone, an item, a position we love is so painful, is not worth having that position. It's not worth having that job. Imagine the CEO that turns down that position or whatever position, because what if I lose that job? Oh, I couldn't take that pain. And so she misses out on having gained great learning experiences as the CEO of her company. Choose love all the way. Love is far more powerful than fear. Last year, a friend of ours had a miscarriage, and she texted me and said, "How have you done this so many times? I do not get it." And I didn't even think twice about my answer. I just typed it up. Because love is stronger than fear. Then I was surprised by my answer. I'm like, I didn't even think of this. Like, that just poured out of my heart to say. Love is the reason I'll wake up the next morning, wipe my tears, mend my heart, do the things that make me feel good and taken care of, and then try again. That was my personal choice. Not everybody has to choose to live life this way. But it feels good. Feels good to not let fear be the thing that stops you. If we all unanimously wait for fear to evaporate, to be gone before we make the decisions that may involve some risk, but may also involve some incredible gains, nobody will be happy. I promise you. We like that. To me, that will be the definition of misery. If we let fear take over our dreams, our aspirations, our steps, our actions. So her email says, "I would love to adopt another dog in the near future. But first, I must get rid of this fear." How can we have these two great feelings in one sentence? I would love to adopt another dog, but I have massive fear of losing that dog that I don't even own yet. In that sentence, fear is taking over. But I have to get rid of fear first. You guys, what in your life right now are you allowing fear to come first? What are you saying? Yeah, I want to go to a yoga class, but first I must be flexible. I laugh, as a yoga teacher, I've heard that so many times. I'm like, no, that's why you come to the yoga class, to become flexible. Almost like if you're flexible, don't come. What's the point? What are you postponing right at this moment that is taking away from your life a potential incredible experience, even if short-lived? This is what humans, we need to get used to. Everything is in constant change. Nobody can tell us that what we like, what we have will last forever. Think of an ice cream that you love eating. It comes to an end. And what happens? When you engage, you still eat the ice cream. When you engage in buying and eating that ice cream, the ice cream will not last an eternity. Very well, you buy an ice cream, 5 minutes later, no ice cream. You ate it. It's gone. Does that make you sad? Sometimes we're like, I wish it was a little bit bigger. But we do it anyways. So maybe some of you are thinking, Olga, how can you compare eating an ice cream with having had a terrible experience in a relationship and deciding to fall in love again? You're right, it's nothing like. However, I wanted to make a point that on a regular basis, we're engaging in actions that we know come to an end and we're okay with it, because we think that moment of enjoyment of just being fully present for that ice cream, for that person, is worth it. So if you've had a really difficult life scenario, like this student of mine, she's lost 3 dogs, and that's not easy. Any of the dog lovers here will know that each of those losses is like losing a relative. So of course she's thinking, I want another one, but can somebody guarantee me this one will stay for a long time? And because nobody can, then fear takes over. My suggestion is buy the dog and enjoy every moment you've got the dog, because life is not guaranteed, yours or theirs. See, I was talking to my husband about this not long ago, and he reminded me of my attitude when I was pregnant with my son, Mateo. After 5 years of infertility, we lost all of our embryos. And we lost the pregnancies we've had before that were very short-lived. And we were terrified. We were afraid throughout this pregnancy to lose this baby. Since the moment this baby was in my uterus, I told myself, which is what Chris was reminding me the other day, as long as I feel pregnant, as long as I feel that there is two of us, I'm celebrating. I didn't go through my pregnancy wishing and praying for 9 months, wishing and praying for a live birth. I went through my pregnancy celebrating every day I had with him in my belly. That was the celebration. I didn't let my brain go to forever and ever. Just every day. And now I still practice that, and my eyes get watery because it's hard. It's the hard thing to do. I would love for somebody to tell me I'm gonna age old, and so will my son. If somebody could tell me today that my child's life is protected for life, oh my God, I'll live a different life altogether. That would be so amazing. But I don't have that guarantee. So I kiss my boy goodbye every time he goes to the park with our nanny, or he goes out with my husband and I know he's going to come back shortly. I kiss him goodbye because this is the moment I know I have him. I don't live in fear. I live in the present. And I celebrate each moment that is a happy moment, that is a good moment. So you get to decide whether or not the story of your losses gets to stop you from future life experiences. That's your choice. Regardless, know that your choice is making you live something today. And some of those feelings are pleasant and some might not be. And you're still the boss. You're the CEO of your own emotional well-being, and you get to make those shots. You make to decide from all the hard things in life that we have to do, which are you picking to do and how are they impacting you? So the way I see it, living in isolation is not an option. Not being loved is not an option. Not loving is not an option. Depriving myself from trying to get a better position at work, or buying another dog and experiencing that unconditional love, or trying for another pregnancy at the risk of potentially losing the pregnancy. All of those life experiences to me come with so many wonderful, happy journeys that I'll be crazy to let fear take that away from me. In fact, fear, you're crazy to think I'll let you do that. And I would love for you guys to think the same way. Like, what is fear stealing from you in your life right now? So how do you lose the fear or the anxiety of losing? By recognizing that you will lose. And nothing is permanent. There's a song, I don't know by whom, but she says, I'm going to love you like I'm going to lose you. That's it. That's the feeling. We are going to lose everything we have at some point, including our life. And yet here we are alive, right? Making the best that we can. So that fear might never leave you, but just do not let it control you. You be in the driver's seat, not in the passenger seat. It is about courage. It is about saying, I am willing. I am willing to love deeply. I am willing to apply for that position at the risk of being shut down. I am willing to fall in love again and potentially meet a complete different person and have a complete new experience. I am willing to buy another dog and fall in love all over again without any guarantees of any outcome. Is the moment what counts? So for anybody listening, if you've got anxiety, remember that anxiety is always up about the future. So naturally bring yourself back to the present is the key here. And it's no different for this anxiety of losing, coming back to the present. I've coached multiple women, and this is one of my favorite things to coach women on: pregnancy after loss. And I promise you, I get these ladies all the way to delivery, which often is when they're most terrified of, because that's when they experience the loss. And we can do it. And you know how? Being in the present. Being in the present, being courageous, Fear takes you nowhere, but courage takes you places. So that's how I want to leave you with, what I want to leave you with. I hope you found this helpful. If this spoke to you, please let me know. Give me a review of the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, share the podcast if you think somebody needs to listen to it. And if this really spoke to you, and if you have questions to ask me, why don't you come over to my Instagram account, Olga's.way, or if you are a fertility person listening to this podcast for fertility feedback, come to fertility.seeker. Both of them will be linked to the notes, my account, Instagram accounts. I'll be so happy to just connect with you and say hi. So don't be shy. Come over, say hi. Let me know you. Let me the opportunity to know you. I wanna meet you. And so, yeah, I want to leave you with that. If you absolutely love mindset work and you're interested in more mindset work right now, there's a great opportunity to work with me starting September 13th, but the applications are now open and I have 10 spots available for 12 weeks of coaching inside Reset Your Mindset. So week by week, we have a mindset teaching and a group call with me on the Fridays, and we together will walk you through letting go of fears, letting go of limiting beliefs, letting go of anxiety, and creating action towards that goal that you absolutely want to accomplish. So if you want to join me, the link is also in the show notes. You have to have a call with me. We make sure that this is a good match for you. And if you're interested, you guys can join. I really sincerely want to open the doors to anybody who feels really called to this type of work. It is life-changing. I know that for a fact. So if you're anybody like my client here who is having anxiety or a specific fear, this is great. But if you have like personal or professional goals that you want to accomplish and you think that your own mind is taking you away from, let's do this. 12 weeks, we finish the year strongly, and we get you through the blockages that are self-imposed through the mindset work. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and I hope to see some of you inside that Reset Your Mindset coaching group. Talk to you guys soon.